Hi, this is Brian, and this is the first episode of Magnificent Monsters. Once in the late 90s, while on a neighborhood walk with my father, just as it had turned to nighttime, we had an encounter. The woods and street around us suddenly flared up to a bright blue, as if the moon had put on a mask the color of the sky. Startled, our eyes shot up towards the heavens as a bolide, an extremely bright shooting star, zipped past us through the air. It left tiny blue sparks as it fell to the earth, as bright as any full moon or flare you've ever seen. I'll never forget that sight, or how lucky we were to see it. Every once in a long while, maybe a few times in your life if you're lucky, some rare bit of magic that causes anyone who looks at it to stare on and wonder will pass through your world. It could be a person, or a shooting star, or a movie. Encountering one of these stellar gems is all the more special because, while there's so many stars and so many movies out there, you found this one and you experienced it for yourself. It becomes very personal then. I want to share one such visitor I enjoyed very much with you today.
Since before recorded time, it had swung through the universe in an elliptical orbit so large that its very existence remained a secret of time and space. But now, in the last few years of the 20th century, the visitor was returning.
Damn, what an intro! This is the perfect mixture of creepy, foreboding, campy. In other words, it's just fun. From the very outset of this movie, you know that you're in for a treat. Night of the Comet concerns the wrath of the Visitor, a strange, powerful comet that holds ill portents for humanity. Following a night of spectacular visuals and deadly thrills, it seems the comet has vaporized every Tom, Dick, Jane, Harry, Larry, Steve, Beeve in the world. Our story focuses on two stunning young survivors of the comet, Reggie and Samantha Belmont, as they come to grips with living in the middle of the end of all that is, as we know it, totally. Along the way, our heroines must contend with a delightful range of flesh-eating ghouls that now roam the humanless ghost cities, educate a shadowy think tank organization that may or may not be humanity's last hope on how to chill, and manage to avoid dropping after furiously shopping in the now Omega-level sales event that only an apocalypse could bring. Now you may recognize Reggie as the girlfriend from The Last Starfighter and her sister Sam from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Truly, the cast is full of many recognizable faces. Chakotay! The cast gives a wonderful performance in this movie, and the characters are all fantastically written, in my opinion. You really get a sense that the girls are breathing, living individuals with high IQs and a desire to succeed, all while being fun and flirty on the side. One of the things I think I love best about this movie is that it perfectly encapsulates the 80s without falling victim to cliches that most other films of that decade contain. For instance, our main heroine, Reggie. Contrary to most 80s last girl horror movie tropes of being weak in initial stages, prone to seemingly incomprehensible decisions like going into the basement alone or unarmed, being innocent to a ridiculous degree, even virginal. Well, instead, Reggie has sex within the first 10 minutes of the movie, and she kicks ass for the rest. Reggie demonstrates sound tactical reasoning once she understands the situation, and appears to have a moral backbone that helps her manage with things. She isn't a victim to what's going on around her. She's a pioneer, and she could stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the biggest and best strong female roles in film. Interestingly enough, film creator Tom Eberhard interviewed some girls while making some unrelated PBS specials. He would ask these girls how they would react in an apocalyptic event, and wrote Reggie and her sister based off those girls' answers. So in some ways, Reggie and her sister are real representations of actual people and actual girls. I think that's really cool. As for the rest of the cast, pretty much every character in this movie, good guy, bad guy, or gross guy, is a joy to watch and very memorable. I don't want to spoil every one of them, as they all have their surprises. Visually, this movie is very satisfying. The sets are gorgeous, the villain and monster design is great, there's a wide variety of ghoulies here, so you're never left bored. I especially like the mall zombie stock boys.
And then this happens.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about you coming in here and ripping us off.
What do you want? You want us to pay for it? What?
You wouldn't believe what we want from you. In your worst nightmare, you wouldn't believe. Let's play a game. It's called Scary Noises.
Ultimately, what I think I like best about this movie is how well it mixes so many different and often conflicting ideas and feelings. Among the campy set pieces like comets and underground vaults, We have an extremely dark, sardonic plot where science is failing to save the world. You see, it seems order is just dissolving and Homo sapiens have no choice but to march quietly into the darkness of finality. Oftentimes, stories portray the saviors as being the people who provide a life-saving cure or destroying evil, but this movie focuses completely on the power of the individual, the meek. Unlike previous sci-fi movies where you had your 1950s-era rocket and ray gun scientists using logic and technology to overcome a threat, the reins of society are handed to two valley girls who use the steadfast power of positivity and wit to carry humanity onwards beyond the chaos of the Comet's tail. This movie makes you feel a range of emotions, from existential dread and cynicism to happiness and hope, all in 90 minutes. That's a rare thing for a movie to accomplish. In my opinion, only the 80s could contain this movie and all of its genre contradictions. People in the 80s lived in a great fear of a nuclear holocaust, and so many of their movies reflected this. Things like Threads, The Day After, Testament, those movies. They're all very dark and dour. However, where Night of the Comet could be dreary and bleak, it's instead a fun, reassuring piece of fiction. A breath of fresh, warm Californian air in the middle of a very cold war. It has its focus on true intelligence, wit, family, and good humor as the means for humanity to cope. In that spirit, this movie embodies those ideals and that cherished American dream that everything is going to be okay as long as you keep calm and shop on. In this filmgoer's opinion, very few movies of the 80s were as critically successful as this. It's basically a B-movie with a brain. That's rare. You can find this Comet next to luminaries like Return of the Living Dead and Night of the Creeps, up there in the constellation of wonderful 80s B-movies that have depth and meaning beyond their effects and body counts. So if you haven't seen this one yet, it's pretty much a must-watch. You don't have to go outside and look up to find it, though. This is Brian from Toy reminding you, life sucks, your movies don't have to. And this has been Magnificent Monsters. Thank you for watching.
All of these things are designed to frighten a monkey.